Welcome.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you so much for this invitation. Yes, my name is Joost Teuben. I work for the University of Twente in the Netherlands, the Faculty of Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation. And I used to be the Capacity Development Coordinator of GEO, the Group on Earth Observations, but exactly by the beginning of this month, my secondment ended. So officially, I'm not at the GEO Secretariat anymore. However, I will still be a member of the Capacity Development Working Group of GEO, so there will always be a link with the GEO Secretariat. Um, Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. So I was asked to present to you what we call GEO's Capacity Development Toolkit. We have been working on developing this toolkit already for quite some time, and I will present it to you, the highlights of this document or this toolkit. It's still under construction. So you will not find it yet at the GEO website, but later on I will explain that we made use of the GeoGlam guidance document, so that can be found on the GEO website. So this toolkit is about strengthening the design, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of capacity development efforts. Next slide, please. A little bit of background. Already in 2019, GEO's capacity development strategy was endorsed, called a needs-oriented, holistic, and an impact-driven approach to capacity development. After that, we had a number of sessions with the members of the capacity development working group, and we explored the needs for more capacity development support. And this was also a result of the working group mapping exercise we did within GEO. So there was a clear need to have more guidance on how to develop and implement capacity development activities. Next slide, please. So what is it we want to achieve with the capacity development toolkit? We understand that capacity development is not an easy process, and a lot of tools and resources might be needed to design your capacity development activity in an impact-oriented way. So hopefully it will serve as a useful hands-on resource, mainly, of course, for the GEO work program, but of course it can also be used by other members of the GEO community. Next slide, please. So what is the toolkit about? It's a mixture of services. First of all, we thought there is a need to explain the methodologies, concepts, and frameworks when it comes to capacity development, as well as the development or the sharing of tools and instruments that can be used. So that has been done mainly in 2023 and resulted in a guidance manual I will explain later on. And that toolkit is also very closely related to the resource mobilization toolkit that you can find on the GEO website as well, where you can explore ways to get external funding for your capacity development activities. In a later stage, we also want to share materials, examples, best practices, and where possible, provide direct one-to-one services or coaching. But that, of course, will depend on funding opportunities within the GEO Secretariat. But the toolkit so will have different components, as you can see in this slide. Next slide, please. So you might know that GeoGlam is one of the flagships of GEO, and in the past years they developed a guidance document of good practices for designing, implementing, and evaluating capacity development interventions. Several people were involved. I was also involved, and I asked them if they allow us to make their guidance document more generic for a broader GEO community. So the focus is not that much on the GeoGlam community, but the GEO community at large. So there is a GeoGlam guidance document on good practices related to capacity development, and we decided to adapt that GeoGlam to a broader GEO community. So there were different consultations with the GEO work program leads and the capacity development working group. And what we will do once we have the documents officially endorsed, there will be some training sessions on the document and how to use the different tools. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, you see here, if you can go back, sorry, probably the slide deck will be shared. On the left side, you see the link to the GeoGlam capacity development guidance document as a PDF. It's available on the Earth Observations website. Next slide, please. So, what is the content of the capacity development toolkit or the guidance document we have developed so far? So it consists of different modules. Of course, there is an introduction, why we think this document is relevant, who were involved, who will benefit from it. Then we have the module 1 is more on the approach on capacity development, the holistic approach and the guiding principles. I will come back to each of those modules in the next slides. The module 2 is about the framework, and we decided that the theory of change might be very useful as a framework for the development of capacity development activities. Module 3 are a number of practical tools that can be used when developing your capacity development activity. Module 4 is a short explanation on your monitoring, evaluation, and learning system. Module 5 is about showcasing. How can you showcase the results of your capacity development intervention? And module 6, but that is under construction. Hopefully we will get a number of concrete case studies. So let me go to the different modules more specifically. Next slide, please. So the module 1 is mainly on the approach and guiding principles. We consider capacity development as an effort that benefits not only individuals but also organizations and society at large. So we do not limit ourselves just by offering training to people working in the field of geo information science. But we also want to strengthen the organizations and even the connections between organizations, the ecosystems. And then we have a number of principles that we said they are relevant for capacity development. You can read them there. It is about leveraging existing capacity. So we build on what is already available in terms of knowledge and skills. It should be demand driven. It's a co-creation process. It should be fit for purpose. A very important part is how to engage stakeholders in your capacity development effort. Sustainability is relevant, and we also look for social inclusion. Next slide, please. So that is module 1. Module 2, I'm not sure to which extent you are familiar with the theory of change, but in a nutshell, it is all about identifying your problem, then describing the impact you would like to see as a result of your capacity development intervention. And then what often happens is that people start to think about, okay, what are then the concrete deliverables or products or services that we are going to provide? But we should not, that's the lower part, but we should not forget that we also want to see changes in people, in behavior, changes in organizations, new policies, new regulations, changes in society. So between the deliverables, the outputs, as you can see them there, and the final impact, there is still that level in between. And I think that is a very important part in the theory of change framework. So this is what we use. Next slide, please. And the tools are then linked to this cycle of activities. So we said, okay, we need to have a problem analysis. There is a tool related to that. The tools are in green. There is a need for the impact definition, but before that, we need to do a user needs assessment to really understand what are the needs and what is the impact we are looking for. Then we have to define those outcomes, the concrete changes we would like to see. And there also is a tool that is linked to the stakeholder mapping. And finally, there's a need for a number of strategies to implement your capacity development intervention. And those strategies consist of the inputs, activities, and the outputs of your specific intervention. So this is the cycle, and the green parts are the different tools that I'm going to explain later on. Next slide, please. So again, these are the tools, and I'm not going into too much detail. That you can find that for now in the GEO guidance document, but in the near future, also in the GEO toolkit. It's about how to prepare for your capacity development intervention, how to start developing your theory of change. It's about the user needs assessment, so the whole consultation process to really grab what are the needs of the people, the people that will benefit from your capacity development intervention. It shows how to develop the stakeholder mapping and how to involve different stakeholders on different levels. Then we present some examples of possible capacity development activities, and that is of course not only about training, it is also about consultation, it is about coaching, it is about communication. So there are different capacity development activities that can be included in your project. There is a section dedicated to develop some indicators that can be used for your monitoring and evaluation system, and it provides some guidance on how to review the whole process you have been working on as part of your intervention. Next slide, please. So the module 4 is on how you can monitor the progress of your project. It talks about what are evaluation mechanisms to really look at the results or even the impact of your activity. And also very important, okay, what did we learn from the implementation and what can be done in a different way. So there is that module on monitoring evaluation and impact assessment. Then we have module 5. Next slide, please. It's about, and that is often very relevant, how to showcase the results of your project. It's a little bit about accountability. If there is an external funding related to your project, then there is a need for accountability, but there is also a need to really show to a broader public what the results have been. And we can distinct, there's a distinction on the different levels. So first of all, we hope that all outputs of your project can be utilized. The promoting new research, creating a product or service, marketing product or service. So really showing the concrete outputs of your activity. Then diffusion is more related to the research community or the community more around your organization. It is about research publications, presentations during conferences, seminars, webinars. But there's also a component, a broader communication to a broader audience, like public events, social media. You can think about leaflets, brochures. So it's important also to showcase the positive, hopefully positive results of your capacity development intervention. And then finally, module 6. We present a template on how to present your case studies so other people can learn what you have been doing. And it is an easy, it's very closely linked to the theory of change. We ask you to describe the problem statement. It justifies your capacity development initiative. What do you think will be the expected impact? Who are the stakeholders involved? What have been or what are the main outcomes? the contributions of the parties to achieve impact, what have been concrete activities and outputs, and finally, what have you learned from the whole project, and are there opportunities for upscaling or outscaling? So that is then the template we ask people to fill in, and that can also be used when we come to training and awareness raising, that we can provide some examples how different people or organization have been using the capacity development toolkit. Next slide, please. So that, in a nutshell, is the outline of the capacity development toolkit. And again, you can find it, the GeoGlam toolkit, on the GEO website. And this GEO toolkit will be made available probably at the beginning of 2024. So by this, I end my presentation. Are there any questions so far?
Oh, very much, Professor, for very interesting, very excellent presentation. I think if there are no questions, progress to the session. GEO weeks.
Actually, I have a question to Refe, if I might jump in.
Okay.
And invite anybody else to jump in if you have a question as well.
Okay.
Joost, can you talk a little bit more about needs assessment? Across our communities of practice, we've taken on a project to collaborate on developing some guidance on specifically on different approaches to needs assessment. Can you talk a little bit about some of the details of what's in there on needs assessment and how you arrived at the recommendations that you made in the toolkit?
It's not a very extensive part of the toolkit, but it is mainly making people aware that there is really a need to do the user needs assessment before you start thinking about the impact you want to see. We have within the document, we make a reference to the Servier toolkit. There is a quite extensive explanation on a user needs assessment, but in short, we invite readers that they follow a stepwise process, that you first identify the different target audiences, that you make a characterization of the target audience, that you collect information on already existing knowledge and skills, so that you have really that leveraging of skills and knowledge, that you really conduct that consultation process with the target audience, and sharing with them already what you see as benefits of the project and the possible outcomes of the project. So it's more like an awareness raising on the importance of having them involved as of the beginning of your project definition. But to be honest, it is not a very extensive section, but again, mainly about awareness raising. Don't forget to include your target audience as of the beginning. Even when you start thinking about designing your theory of change, you have to have them involved as of the beginning. Hopefully that responds a little bit to your question.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Are there any questions in the chat box? Yeah.
Hi, this is Juan Carlos Villagrán. I'm sorry, I only found the raised hand right now. Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
I would like to know if in the framework of GEO there's a difference between training individuals, enhancing their skills, versus capacity building or capacity development. We do make a difference in you and Spider. I'm with you and Spider. We do make a difference between a capacity of an institution versus the skills of an individual. So we say we do trainings for individuals, but for us, we enhance the capacity of institutions. So I wonder if GEO has some similar approach, or whether there's something different.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, I mentioned in one of the first slides that that a capacity development strategy was endorsed by GEO, and we really want to have that holistic approach in capacity development. So capacity development is not just training of individuals. We really would like to see that you strengthen, okay, on one hand the individuals, but also the organizations they work for, and also the ecosystem within you operate as an organization. I always give the same example that at my university, the Faculty of Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation, we train people from Africa, South America, and we train them, we give them new knowledge, new skills on MSc level, and sometimes they are a little bit frustrated when they go back to their country and they realize that they are not always capable of applying the new skills and knowledge because the organization is not ready for it, or the infrastructure is not there, or the software is not available, etc., etc. So there is a need, and as a faculty we do that a lot, not only to think about the skills of the individuals, but also how to strengthen the organization as such. And then hopefully we can build also networks between different organizations. It's nice to see that now we have a delegation from Ethiopia in our building, and they are coming from 3 different universities, Mekelle, Bayadar, and Addis Ababa. And we really try to create that network among the different universities. So we really, in general capacity development, we should work on all those different levels and not only on creating new knowledge or skills.
Thanks a lot.